Well, in other Kubrick-related news, to transition to this,
here we go.
One of the big movie-related stories last week was, for years, when I was preparing the Kubrick series from the very beginning, and it literally was years, I tried to get Shelley Duvall on the show for the Shining episode, obviously. And I went she doesn't have representation anywhere, so it was really difficult to track someone down. I would track down the last people that interviewed her, and I'd try those channels that they had. And finally, I looked up her home address and I found it. But being uncertain that that was the exact number of her address, I sent out 3 letters to that number and the corresponding numbers before and after it. And if it arrived at a neighbor's house, I said, could you please share this with Shelley Duvall, blah, blah, blah. And it was an interview request for her to appear on the Kubrick series.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard anything back. But over the years, I'd heard stories, not only in the Inquirer, but I've read accounts of people that live in her town in Texas, where they talked about how eccentric she was and how it was a little sad at times. So, lo and behold, the big news last week was Dr. Phil, that eminent psychologist, Dr. Phil. He featured an interview with Shelley Duvall, and she's really sick and looks very sick physically. I mean, I couldn't imagine a heavy-set Shelley Duvall, but it seems like her physical health has gone downhill with her psychological health. And then in the aftermath of that, there have been cries that how dare Dr. Phil exploit Shelley Duvall for the purposes of November sweeps ratings and that kind of thing. What do you guys think of the whole situation with Shelley Duvall?
My initial reaction was that this wasn't necessarily exploitation. I mean, I guess because it's being put on November sweeps, it feels like that. But that it was a kind of reportage on where she is and where she's been. For me, it was. I didn't watch the entire show or anything. Because I don't have television, I watch everything online. But I felt thankful to know about where she is. I mean, and of course, shocked and saddened by it. But I find it difficult to get all worked up in a huff about exploitation. I don't know. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but
no. And I think that I don't know the true story. I don't know the real story, but she even claims in the interview that she's in need of money. And you go on. I'm sure Dr. Phil offered payment. I don't think Dr. Phil reached out to Shelley Duvall, of all people, to do a show on her. Her people probably reached out to him, and whether it's her people trying to get money out of it and using her for it, or Shelley Duvall herself saying, I need money for it, which I think is more likely. It's not exploitative in that way. Then Vivian Kubrick was really one of the first people to decry this. Stanley's daughter, another person I've tried to get for years, and I'm never going to get her after I say these things, but she had a falling out with her father towards the end of his life. I mean, not really. She always said that she cared for her father, but she ran away from home in the middle of Eyes Wide Shut shooting. They could not find her. Then they found out that she had converted to Scientology and she was living in Los Angeles, and she had basically ostracized her family from her life. So Kubrick, for the first time in decades and decades, was planning to come back to the U.S. to get her, to search for her, before he died. She did not she attended a funeral with a friend, a fellow Scientologist. She attended Kubrick's funeral and didn't say anything to her family during it. She didn't contact her sister when she died of cancer, when she was dying of cancer. And so the controversy here is Vivian Kubrick started a GoFundMe campaign to help Shelley Duvall. And people are saying that it'll go straight to try to get her through Scientology, which does not believe in psychiatry. And what she really needs is psychological help. While Vivian Kubrick says the money that is raised is going directly to Shelley Duvall. So that's another, thorn in the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
all right.
It sounds like the sick trying to help the more sick.
Yeah, okay. All right. I was not losing sleep because I didn't know the whereabouts of Shelley Duvall. Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, we live in an era now where 2 + 2 = 5. So why not have these people like Dr. Phil, an overweight man telling you have to lose weight at one point in his life, and showing you how. I agree with you, though, because I had forgotten about the whole Vivian Kubrick that she was a Scientologist. And I actually think you just mentioned a great movie. I would like to make a movie about Stanley Kubrick trying to get his daughter back, or like something like Hardcore, basically, with Stanley Kubrick in the, but it's about Stanley Kubrick. But I don't really.
That's an idea.
Can I be very honest with you guys? Well, yes, it's sad, it's horrible. We see these stories. The other thing that I immediately think of is the actress who played Joni, in Happy Days, is living in the trailer park. We see these stories, but this is obviously, no, it's horrible. She's in horrible condition. When I saw that thing that you posted, Jamie, a couple of days ago, I was just like, oh my God. The first thing I thought of, no wonder you couldn't get a hold of her. No wonder. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And if you did, she would have asked for money, probably. So and I would have been like, I don't have it. I don't know. It's sad. It's very sad. But I just don't. What do you say? What do you say in this day and age where we worship celebrity so much? And this is. Is there any? Do we have any rationale of why she ended up like this?
She did an interview for the apparently for the Life in Pictures documentary in 2001. I think. I was talking to my friend Aaron, and he said that she was in that movie about Kubrick after he died.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall new interviews with her in that movie though, but he says that they're there. So apparently she was lucid then. And then the rumors did start shortly after that. I think the Inquirer ran a story about her digging a hole in her backyard to hide from UFOs or something, or
I don't know.
You never know about that sensationalistic stuff. But in terms of Vivian, it's interesting because a few months ago I was reading about Eyes Wide Shut, and everybody has theories about The Shining. Well, that's starting now with Eyes Wide Shut. And they're actually,
oh God,
for a couple of years now, they've been producing a documentary about Eyes Wide Shut that I filmed a part of when they flew out to interview me for it. And I don't know if this is included in the documentary or not, but one writer I read said that the very last scene where they're shopping in the toy store, he and Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman are speaking in the foreground. In the background, you see the daughter shopping for bears and stuff, and then she's taken, or she's kind of ushered by two men in coats, and she disappears from view. And so a lot of people are trying to say that was a sly thing about Vivian being converted and ostracized from the family from Scientology.
Please. Oh, my God.
It's interesting what people see. What people look for, they try to manufacture. And if it makes it more interesting for them, that's fine. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. So I don't know what to say. It's a sad sight. Something.
Yeah,
sad.
but is it exploitation? Do you believe it's exploitation? That's the.
I believe it's tasteless, but I don't think it's any more or less tasteless than what's
your average Dr. Phil episode. Yeah.
Or your average entertainment news, or your average TMZ, or anything really. Anything really.
Yeah,
now.
I mean all that stuff. I lump all that stuff together as being something that I wouldn't watch really. Although I would like, I am interested in seeing this. Just I don't know. I'm concerned about her, and if it takes the show to raise awareness. I mean, if it takes the show to raise awareness about mental illness just in general, well, that's a good thing, I think. And I don't know.
By the way,
I think it puts
I put Dr. Phil. I put Dr. Phil in the same thing as Dr. Drew. I mean, I think Dr. Drew was an exploiter too. I mean, they're all playing the same game, I think.